Hey guys, happy Friday and welcome back to another Makeup and Bad Movies. So for today's video, we will be discussing the 2021 adaptation of Cinderella, starring Camila Cabello. I think that's how you say her name? I don't know. Not sure about that one. I know a lot of people don't like her, Camila, because she's done some questionable things and is allegedly a racist. But I don't really know too much about her, nor have I, really looked into any of those claims. But so that's not gonna really affect my judgment of this movie. But I do know that a lot of people don't like her, and I feel like that's probably why a lot of people don't like the movie, because they don't like her as a person. Like I said, I don't really know too much about those topics, so I can watch this movie with kind of like an open heart. So the movie follows the original story of Cinderella, and it starts off, by the way, it's a musical, if you didn't know. It is a musical, because who doesn't love those? I actually don't really care for musicals too much. I've seen 3 musicals in my entire life. I saw Les Mis in high school acting class. I also saw Little Shop of Horrors, which is amazing. And I was forced against my will to watch Hamilton, which is, but the song Satisfied came out of that play, so I'm not gonna complain too much because that's one of the best songs I've ever heard in my entire life. Anyway, the movie starts off with the full cast singing a mashup of Rhythm Nation and some other song. I'm not sure, I don't know, I wasn't too familiar. Some of these, I had to look up whether or not all of the songs like were non-originals, because I recognized most of the songs except for 2, so I was just like, maybe nothing in this movie is, none of the songs are original, and which would be kind of lame, honestly, for a musical. But again, for a musical, I think they only have like 3 original songs total, which I feel like is it's a little strange, ain't it? Or am I tripping? So we have the stepmother, who's played by Idina Menzel, and then we have the 2 stepsisters, naturally. I don't remember their names. Ah, fuck. I don't remember their names. I just remember that one of them was very ditzy. Ella, or Cinderella, is our main character here, and she makes dresses, gowns, and she has dreams of opening her own shop up in the town center one day. Ella, of course, does everything for her stepmother and stepsisters, just like in the original story, and is treated like shit as well. She's not treated that bad, but they clearly don't care for her. Why do I want to keep saying Camila? Camila's voice throughout the movie and all her singing scenes sounds like it's auto-tuned, but at the same time, it doesn't sound like it was edited at all. Cause so some parts when she's singing, it sounds like a very obvious track, and then her voice starts cracking, or she doesn't really hit the note correctly, and you're like, so it's not edited, or it was edited, and this was the best they could do to hide that. I'm gonna be the sun, I just can't afford to be wrong, even when I'm afraid, you're gonna know my name. And that's not to say I don't think that Camilla Aaron, her name is Camilla, doesn't have a good singing voice. I don't know much of her music, but in this movie at least, I don't think that she has a bad singing voice. I just think that maybe this style of singing wasn't for her in particular. Everyone has their style and where their voice fits, and maybe this one just wasn't for her. But I'm not gonna say that she's not a good singer, she just couldn't carry some of the notes. So anyway, we meet the prince, who is very childish seeming, honestly. And in the scene, he is interviewing or meeting with potential wives, because every prince has to get married before they can become king, but he doesn't like any of them. He wants to be free, and he also wants to marry for love. The town crier was the best part of this whole movie. Honestly, loved every scene with him when he was announcing something. Love that. There is an introduction of the guard, or meeting, I forgot what it's called, but something to do with the changing of the guards. And the family, the stepmother, the stepsisters, and Cinderella are getting ready to head out. Cinderella tried to bring a gown with her that she had made in hopes of selling it since everyone was going to be gathered together already. And some other basically called her an idiot because, you know, women do not concern themselves with business matters, and she would bring shame to the family by trying to do so. Then we cut to the king suggesting that they hold a ball so that the prince can find a bride. There's a choir during this scene, and I'm just kind of like, why'd you guys include that? It wasn't needed, and it kind of took away from the scene because it was annoying.
Well, we shall hold a ball. A ball? No. Balls are fun. Yes, we'll invite every woman of worth.
I think it was one of those things that was supposed to be comedic, but it just fell flat repeatedly. Like, a lot of scenes in this movie were supposed to be funny, but they fell flat. Like, they didn't hit like they can you talk, Aaron? They didn't hit like they were supposed to, I'm not gonna lie. But it isn't categorized as a comedy, so I'm not gonna go too hard on them for that, because I did look. So then after that conversation with the king and the prince about finding someone to marry, the prince sings Somebody to Love by Queen. And I don't feel like it was a direct ripoff of Ella Enchanted, but because, you know, the same song was sung in such an iconic scene in Ella Enchanted, you can't help but compare the two. And like I said, Ella Enchanted scene was iconic. This scene was lackluster. It didn't give anything that it was supposed to give. Side note, Prince Charming in this story, his name is actually Robert, which I didn't find out till like 30 minutes into the movie. He's not very charming, and he's not very cute to me anyway, but he's definitely not charming. So during the changing of the guard ceremony, sorry, we're like flip-flopping all over the place here, but that is the movie's fault and not my fault, because they just kept flipping back and forth between the prince and Ella's perspective. So during the changing of the guard ceremony, Ella can't see, so she climbs up onto a statue of the past king, which gets her called out by the king.
Back there, give us short peasants a chance. I hereby decree all short peasants shall be pardoned by the king.
Get down.
This was supposed to be funny. Camilla was definitely a perfect person to play this role because she definitely gives off quirky and weird vibes in real life, and that's exactly how Ella is in the movie. And I mean, she fits the role perfectly, but it's an annoying role, not gonna lie. I hate when they have movies where you can't, I wanna like the main character. Why are you making the main character unlikable? But anyway, she's called out by the king, and the prince takes notice of her, and he becomes determined to find her off the strength of that alone. I don't know, because she made him laugh or something. Again, it wasn't funny. Why would you climb up on a statue? I don't understand. Like, you could just move to the front. So the prince decides to disguise himself so he can go into town and look for this mysterious woman. And he wears a terrible disguise, by the way. He wears a fucking bandana wrapped around his head, not even covering his hair, just like wears it like a sweatband or something, and regular townspeople clothes. That's his disguise, guys. At the same time, Ella is sneaking out of her house in order to go to the town center in hopes of selling one of her dresses. The stepmother gives a wonderful rendition of Material Girls by Madonna, naturally, because her talents deserve more than this movie, honestly. Andina Medell is so talented. She carried this movie. I'm not gonna lie, she did. But anyway, she gives this rendition of Material Girl basically to instill to her daughters that you need to marry rich if you want to be happy. That's the only way to be happy, is to marry rich. Getting back to Ella, she's in the town center, she's trying to sell her dress, she's very unsuccessful. And the people start laughing at her because it's just like, again, you're a woman, how dare you concern yourself with business matters? That's for men. The prince sees her in the midst of all of this and buys the dress, then personally invites her to the ball and says that he will introduce her to some people who can help her dreams come true. Seeing that scene, I actually saw this scene on TikTok before I watched the movie, and that's what made me be like, yeah. So it's night of the ball. Ella's created a beautiful gown for the evening. As she's, you know, she comes upstairs because she lives in the basement. She comes upstairs and joins the rest of the girls. Stepmother informs her that she will not be going to the ball because she's already engaged, you know. This man, Thomas, who has come by a few times to drop off vegetables and stuff, has asked for her hand in marriage. So she doesn't need to go to the ball because she's taken for. Cinderella naturally protests, and stepmother ended up throwing ink on her dress. So clearly she can't go now. I'm like trying to it may sound like I'm trying to speed through talking about this, but like the movie was very long. It was 2 hours long, and it's a Cinderella story. It doesn't take that long to tell a Cinderella story. It's very simple. So earlier in the movie, she had saved a caterpillar, and that caterpillar comes out of its cocoon as a butterfly and then eventually turns into the fairy godmother, or the fabulous godmother, that is played by Billy Porter. I don't have too much to say on this entire scene, just that Billy Porter's character it definitely felt like a caricature of a gay black man. And again, this was a scene that did not need to be this long. Give her the dress. And let's keep it moving. Let's get to the ball. Fairy godmother creates a dress for her out of one of her actual designs. And she's off to the ball with her carriage and her horsemen, which were, of course, the mice. At the ball, they do a mashup of What a Man and Seven Nation Army, which was actually pretty good, not gonna lie. It was a good little scene. All right, so Ella runs into a queen from a foreign nation who loves her dress and gives her an offer to travel with her around the world and create all her clothes. Then shortly after that, her and the prince meet up and they share a dance while singing Perfect by Ed Sheeran, which I hate. I hate that song. I hate any music that Ed Sheeran makes, honestly. Hate's a strong word. I strongly dislike Ed Sheeran's music. The prince then proposes to Cinderella, and she turns it down because she wouldn't be able to make her dresses. She wouldn't be able to do anything. She wouldn't be able to work, so she wants to follow her dream and travel with that queen. Which, good for you, girl. And never let a man come in front of your dreams, okay? Never. Proud of her. So she runs off and of course leaves behind the infamous glass slipper. And then of course there was a scene where the prince went from house to house. He wasn't having the girls try on the slipper. He just needs to look at them because he knows what she looked like this time. But you know, we had to include that because for some reason during all that time, you proposed to her but you never asked her name. How does that work? Stepmother then finds out that Ella is the girl from the ball, and she tries to convince her to go marry the prince, and Ella is unrelenting in that. So the stepmother then tells her, fine, you're going to Thomas, her betrothed, her fiance, today. You'll go today. On the ride to Thomas's house, Ella manages to escape by throwing herself out of the carriage so that she can make it to the meeting with the queen in town. Robert finds her along the way, tells her that he just wants to be with her. He doesn't care about being king anymore, just wants to be with her. So he helps her make it to town in time to meet with that queen. You know, the queen is impressed with all her designs and offers her the position or whatever. Something I just thought about is that the fabulous godmother made it so that the prince would be the only person who could recognize her and nobody else would recognize her, so she wouldn't get in trouble with her stepmother. So how did Queen Tatiana know who she was the next day? Because technically the magic would have affected Queen Tatiana too, so the girl she saw from the ball would not be the same girl that she saw the next day showing her designs. It's small, but it bugged me a little bit thinking about it. So now Robert and Cinderella are going to travel the world together with that queen, as you know, Cinderella does her thing, and Gwen, the princess sister, gets to be king now, which is fitting because in every scene that she was in, she proved that she was more than capable of the job. So the movie ends with a full cast performance of Let's Get Loud by J-Lo, which I was unable to finish both times that I watched this movie. I don't know, it wasn't good. Overall, the movie isn't as bad as everyone makes it seem. Yes, Camilla's singing isn't the greatest in certain parts, but it wasn't unbearable to watch. The movie was just boring. It was very boring. That's it. Like I said earlier, the movie is 2 hours long. It doesn't take 2 hours to tell the story of Cinderella. But y'all just kept flipping and flopping and flipping and flopping. Two hours long for no reason. But yeah, like I said, the movie isn't as bad as everyone is making it seem. It's really not. It's not terrible. Like, at least the acting is decent. The singing, acting is decent. But that is it for today's video. If you guys like this video, go ahead and subscribe and give it a thumbs up if you haven't already. Leave your thoughts on the movie down below. Did you guys like it? Are you guys along with the masses who thought it was terrible? Or you're like me and you're just like, it's very indifferent. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. And until next time, bye guys.